Hey, hey. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. 1, 2. Hey, 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 hey. Check 1, 2. Hey, hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Please make your way to your seats. We are about to begin shortly in a few minutes. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We begin in a couple of minutes. So, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone had the chance to enjoy a wonderful, warm Cypriot evening. The kind of evening that leaves you with memories to cherish and nothing you'd rather forget. Unless, of course, someone checked the email a bit too late this morning. Moments like this make up for the lack of time we often have to connect, giving us the opportunity to share meaningful conversation, exchange ideas, and simply enjoy each other's company without a referee interrupting us every 5 minutes. Today is an important day because another essential part of this summit comes into focus: sport itself. Football not only as a topic of discussion, but as a game to be played. That will take place a little bit later this afternoon. So if anyone is saving their energy or already thinking about tactical substitution, we completely understand. And we still need your voices. Please fill the questionnaire to be a participant in football matches, paddle or chess. So we're waiting for your voice. And now we begin our panel discussion. Let's talk about the giants of the game and the more, let's say, modest clubs. Is there a real chance for a smaller team to remain competitive in this vast ocean of football? Or are they destined to serve merely as feeders for the elite? And how engaging is it for top clubs to compete against teams whose entire budget may be comparable to the monthly salary of their star players? Though, to be fair, sometimes the smaller clubs have one big advantage. They play like they actually enjoy and want to enjoy the football. So let's explore whether position, passion, tragedy, or in a bit of chaos can still challenge financial power, and whether in modern football miracles are part of the system or just great stories we tell on events like this. So I would like to ask to and be a participant of this panel discussion, João Amaral, Head of Scouting, FC Barcelona. João, thank you very much. We welcome here Miguel Ribeiro, President of FC Famalicão. And welcome Cristiano Giaretta, Sporting Director of Pafos FC. Cristiano, thank you. So to begin, I'd like to briefly introduce our speakers to the audience. Could each of you share about your journey in football and what led you to these current roles? You start, you open the bottle. So you start. Good evening, we can see it.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you, Roman, to invite me again. Rodolfo, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be here and share a bit of my career and my insights about scouting. I've been here a few months ago, also in the scouting event that Pafos organized, and I told there that my background is not from football, so it was a different way to reach where I am at the moment, and I came from a different sport. I was a swimmer, and but my passion for football always was there, and when I had the chance to choose when I was in the school and university, I had to choose my pathway. I chose football, and everything started there. And I started as a youth scout for Benfica many years, and I can say that all along these 10 years that I'm already working in scouting, I was in different areas. I was working in the club side, I was working in the agency side, and this gave me an insight of the business that today I would say that is a big tool that I have to work on. During the years that I worked as an agent, the approach is totally different, the approach that I have to have in a club. So all of this gave me a lot of different insights about football. The biggest achievement when I arrived to Barcelona, I can't forget the pathway that I had to fill, because I also was, the topic of the event is the smallest clubs. I also was in a small club, a modest club that was Rio Ave. That gave me also a lot of things that helped me to reach where I am at the moment. So I can say that I'm lucky enough to be here, but also I enjoyed the pathway.
Thank you. Miguel?
Good morning. I started in football as a lawyer 24 years ago in a club, second division, Varzim. I worked 1 year as a lawyer, and for me, I always be a lawyer, and I moved to sport director in 1 year. I worked 5-6 years in that club as a sport director. After 1 season in Marítimo, sport director, 7 years in Rio Ave, general manager, and when Quantum Pacific bought Famalicão 8 years ago, I moved to Famalicão as a president. And for me, the clubs, they don't have size, because I'm a professional. And for me, the clubs don't have size. For me, the budgets don't have size, because Real Madrid can make 500 million euros, but they spend 499 million of it. Be part of the game and the passion of the best sport. And the sport is growing a lot as an industry. So that's why I believe this kind of summits. I believe when the people think about this industry, it's super, super important, because everything is growing. And this industry is growing a lot as an industry. And speaking, I have more and more professionals working. When I start, the president normally is the rich guy in the city. The sport director is one close friend who can tell him things. The accountant is the guy who works in his company. Today, all the clubs, you have CEOs, CFOs, sport director, marketing, everything is growing. I really believe we stopped 2 years because of COVID. Otherwise, we are 2 years up front, because it's super clear. There's one study, I think was EY in 2018. They said in 10 years, will be the double. 10% per year until 28, this industry. Okay, we stopped 2 years in COVID, but the truth is we are again back on track. And every year, the football players are the new pop stars in the world. The clubs are the new great brands in the world. This industry, the capacity of generation, the way how we can make money, even in UEFA, it's absolutely fantastic the way how it's growing, because means you build this. This is really an industry. No one give nothing. UEFA changed for more than double the prize money about UEFA Champions Leagues and the Europa League, because they are making this kind of money. This is a great industry, and it's growing a lot.
Thank you, Miguel. Cristiano?
Okay, I always work in football. I play as a footballer for 20 years. And since when I was a kid, I went to play I did all the academy in Monza Football Club when I was 12, until the first team, and then I played somehow for 20 seasons. I was a good player, a decent player, not as any special. But it gave me the opportunity, by the way, to experience football, because also during my stage as footballer, I always been part of the football association, taking care about the interest of the players, studying rules, studying also new clauses, so helping the team also in this case. So it was nice to experience. And afterwards, after 20 seasons, I had the luck to start to work as a sporting director the very next day in a club where they wanted to sign in myself as a player, for giving me the opportunity to start to work as a sporting director, because they knew this is what I wanted to do. So I started to work as a sporting director in third division in a club close to Milano. And then from there I moved to Novara. Novara is a city close to Torino. And still now they are in third division. Novara was amazing because we were capable to build something special, because we've been promoted from the third division to the Serie A. We were the first ever club in Serie A to play with artificial grass, because the stadium still now in Novara is with artificial grass. And what happened? At the beginning, we thought to be a very good team because we were destroying everyone, Inter, Milan, Fiorentina. But when they understood about the artificial grass, it became very much more challenging for us. I still remember the third game in Serie A that year we won against Inter. They sacked Gasperini. But this has created also in ourselves too much expectation. By the way, it was an amazing experience. And then from Novara, I moved to Udinese, where I stayed for 3 years. From Udine, I went to Ascoli, a good club in second division where we tried to be promoted in Serie A. And then I started to work abroad. The first 2 seasons I worked in CSKA Sofia in Bulgaria, which was an amazing experience because the club is a huge club. He has a lot of support. They live for football. Also in the training session, if we didn't close the training ground, they were coming 1,000, 2,000 people always asking to follow the training session. And you know, it's amazing. And then from there, I went to work in UK with Watford. And the first season, we were capable to win immediately the championship and to be promoted in the Premier League. And so I experienced the Premier League, which was obviously an amazing experience. In Premier League, you understand that the meaning of the package of the match day is something special, something different, in my opinion. And then 2 seasons more, and then I got in contact with Roman, with which I agreed this project, which I think is one of the best choice I did in my football career.
Thank you. João, as a head scouting of Barcelona FC, you oversee one of the most significant global talent identification network in football. How has the role of scouting evolved in recent years?
I would say that we are living now in a moment that everything is more data-driven. I think it comes from the American investors that are coming to Europe and buying a lot of clubs. This approach they have about data become every single club a bit more data-driven than they were before. I think the way that scouting evolved since I began on this was more about the data thing. I believe that the perfect mix is to use the data, never forgetting the most important thing, that is the live scouting. And what I do in Barcelona at the moment is exactly that. I normally say that we start the process always with data, and then we finish the process with data. But in the meantime, where the core of the work is, we scout a lot, we travel a lot, we try to filter exactly what was filtered by the data with our own eyes, and that gives us the capacity to have a list that you rely on. And personally, I really like to be a field guy. I like to, as a head of the department, I like to be always watching games, and when the lists are made in the end of the windows, in the beginning of the windows, I personally go travel and to see the players, and that gives me the capacity to, when I have to make a decision about the player, I will be able to give my personal insight of the player, and that data can't give you. You know, it's something that is more intuition, I would say. And at the moment, I think the best way of scouting is to mix these two components of the scouting tools.
Miguel, under your leadership, Famalicão has built a strong reputation for strategic management and player development. What do you believe are the key ingredients for a club like Famalicão to compete sustainably in modern football?
I think the vision and the philosophy, it's the main point, because for Famalicão, and we can split this in many moments, and today for Famalicão, our vision and philosophy, it's a lot about the player and of course the game, because for the player you need a game. And we split our operation basically in 3 moments. One moment, recruitment, scouting, sport director pure, when we try to find our players. And our players, we know exactly what we need. We build around our lineup clearly the characteristics, the right back, the central back, the 6, the 8, the wingers, the 9. And in that moment, we need to find our best solutions. Our best solutions we support, of course, as João said, today data is very important, but you need to understand what means Famalicão. And when I sign a player with 19 years old coming from Senegal, or a player coming from France, from nowhere, but that is not the main thing. Normally inside Famalicão, I tell to the sport director, we need to use all our senses. Sometimes it's the ear. How you look your player? With my ears. Because one friend called and said, check this guy. And after, what is your sense? Is your vision? No, it's my smell. Let's smell. Smells good. One guy called and said, this is a midfielder who can be a top midfielder. It's a friend, because we build a good network in 20 years. And you start the things, your data coming from here. And after, go for your nose. And okay, smells good. Let's see. Watch the player. Okay, sweet. And after, more than a good player, we try to find good deals. Because it's quite a risk management. And a club like Famalicão is not a club like Barcelona. For me, a good player, it's a good deal. After, if the player is good, medium, bad, it's a different conversation. In the second step, we build inside Famalicão a strong model of development the player. Medical, physical, coach. For me, coach is the key of operation of Famalicão. Today, I think we have the right coach. Unfortunately, in the past, we have some bad experience. But today, I think we have. And in this process, with player care, with nutrition, physical, tactical, training, we develop the player. And the third moment is the market. We try to sell the player. Fortunately, today, Famalicão have a good brand. Have one example, in the last 3-4 windows, Famalicão always sell player for more than 10 millions. Otávio, 12, Zabiri now, 12. We try to keep sell-ons, and for us sell-on, it's always an important value. We received 3 million from Otávio, Oporto to Paris FC. So this is our macro vision about what we have in Famalicão. And why? Famalicão run a budget around 20 millions. Famalicão make 5-6 millions per year. This gap is big. It's a very big gap. It's more than 12-13 mandatory millions we need. And where we can find the solution in the market. Portugal, of course, it's a big difference between Portugal and Cyprus. The brand of Portugal about the players and regarding players, it's very strong. Big leagues, big clubs trust a lot in the Portuguese clubs. That's why you watch the final of Champions League, and for sure you will find in both clubs players coming from Portugal. No matter play Man City, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Liverpool, Chelsea, PSG, all the big clubs, in the lineup you find 3-4 players coming from Portugal. Portuguese, Brazilians, but coming from the Portuguese league. And this is a great challenge for a club like Famalicão. Because at the end, you can't forget one thing. Football It's one of the only industries in the world you have competition. And competition changes everything. Because you run a business like an hotel. You have in your country 20 top hotels. Everybody run the hotel super well. Everybody can have huge profits, no problem. But in football, in a league, with 20 clubs, everybody run the clubs in perfect. One is the champion, 3 relegated, 3, 4 went for European competitions. And this is the biggest problem for clubs like Famalicão, and maybe for Pafos, I don't know, but for Famalicão for sure, is manage between you work the players, you work the game to have to be sustainable, to have money, to pay your bills, and at the same time you compete in the league to making points and stay alive. And this relation between what means an industry and a company like Famalicão and what means the industry and the team like Famalicão, it's a big challenge for any manager in Portugal, I believe in Spain, in France, in England, because at the end we have more than 100 employees, we have more than 100 salaries to pay, we have more than 100 people who their families depend about our company, and you have the game. And manage all these facts and all these circumstances, it's one big challenge for a club of the size of Famalicão. That's why back to the beginning, our vision and philosophy, game and player. This is our factory.
Christian, just the same, but we enjoyed the Pafos FC road in Champions League, and you stopped giants like Villarreal and Monaco. And do you think that that reflects a real structural shift in football, because it's common way? For example, in FA Cup we saw lots of surprises there, or these success stories just temporary bubbles?
I don't think we can talk about bubble anymore. Smaller clubs today, they are better organized. They have an intelligent, and I especially talking about my club, Pafos. And we have an intelligent use of data, which is important. And first of all, we have a clear vision. In my opinion, the clear vision is a key factor for a small club to last longer. And when I mean about the clear vision, I mean we need to have a clear vision. No? When it's a good structure, we need to have a clear vision, define roles, and an efficient communication. These 3 elements are very important in order to create a small club with amazing knowledge, with a clear plan, and with the future. So that's why we are capable to compete against giants, because today is not only about money. Obviously, the gap between a top club and smaller club is big and will remain big, and maybe also, in my opinion, the future also is in his destiny is to increase. But again, when you have these components, no, the clear vision, the defined roles, and the efficient communication in your club, in your football department, in all the departments of the club, you are already ahead, you are already ready to compete with the giants. So choosing also the right human resources, I think is very important. And that's why it's important also to create the performance, the culture performance is very important. And when I mean the culture performance is not only about the players, but it's about also the human resources that you have in the club. Because for example, Pafos is growing up very quickly. Also, us as a human resource, we need to grow up very quickly. We need to create a DNA in the club. It's fundamental. We need to arrive one day when we sign a player, and the player the first day stepping into the training ground in Pafos FC, he need to break immediately the winning mentality, the discipline, the culture that the club want to transmit. And to be honest, Pafos, in my personal opinion, capable to be successful in these last 2 or 3 years because we improve all these kind of elements. So this combination with a clear vision that the board gave us was very clear. The vision for the future was to win, to lift some trophies, meantime to prepare the foundation to developing players and to sell them. This is something clear to us. The defined roles. Defined roles also, the beginning maybe was a bit, can I say, questionable, but altogether we were capable to create who does what. There is a clear and efficient communication. It's important because everybody knows why a decision has made, and not only what a decision is made. This is important in order to involve all the people that we have in the department, even because the football department is becoming bigger and bigger. You have to deal with the medical, with the analyst, with the rehab. You need to double check why in the session we are decreasing, why we are increasing, what about the injury. So there are a lot of key factors that in daily basis you put on the table, and if you don't deal with them, with your staff in daily basis, you lose something. And I think we are in the right way. So what I mean is, the bubble, I don't consider bubbles anymore, but it's something concrete. Because the smaller club, as I said, and Pafos is a clear example in Europe, they have a clear plan, and they have a clear identity, and they want to keep on improving this identity. Because the real strength in football is to resist when something, or when the result goes wrong, which is normal in football. If you are capable to believe in what you are building and what you are believing in, you can also go beyond this difficult moment, because you have a clear vision, clear plan. There is no misunderstanding. So that's why I think, okay, the gap will remain huge, but that financial, which is another topic maybe we can discuss even later. But from an organizational point of view, today the Giants will struggle always to win against a smaller club because of the concept that I explained already. And because also, and then we can talk also, is another chapter about the game plan, the identity of the football, the plan of your coach, which is another part to compete, obviously. But again, I wouldn't talk about bubbles anymore.
João, each year in Champions League we've seen the big clubs playing small clubs or whatever. This year Real Madrid traveled through Kazakhstan. It was a national day in Kazakhstan. And for big club like Barcelona FC, like Real Madrid, is there still sporting or commercial value in competing against smaller clubs?
Yeah, I would say that for big clubs, the commercial side is very important. It's always when these situations happens, or Barcelona will play against, it goes to play in Kazakhstan, for example, and that doesn't happen very often. It's a huge opportunity because Barca, as Madrid and the big clubs, they have fans all around the world. So it's always an opportunity for these fans to see their club, and that is also a huge opportunity for us as a club to give to these people the opportunity also to be leaving a bit of Barcelona for one day or for 2 days. So I think it's always a very good opportunity for us as a club, and also for the people in the country to live this opportunity.
Because the proposed European Super League reignite debate about the future structure of football. Do you think such competition is inevitable for the biggest club, or does the current system, include the tournament of UEFA Champions League, Europa League, still provide enough balance and opportunity for smaller club to compete?
Yeah, for sure. I think all the tournaments with merit is a future, and create like a super league. That is really a bubble. When you ask a bubble, big clubs in a super league, it's really a bubble. And why you are living in a bubble? Football is not different than your life. Football is not different than the countries. You have small cities, you have medium cities, you have big cities. Football is the same. And you need to compete. You need to compete. Of course, a big club is much more close to win, but that's not a problem. Everybody can live with that reality. What we can't live, it's you create a bubble of superstars, and in that bubble, you play each other. You have world for everybody. Football is the kind of sports who put everybody inside. Football, it's maybe the only sports you can play countries against countries, teams against teams, internal, external, and always with great competition, always growing as I told you, as an industry, as a collective industry. So for me, make lots of sense. Keep this as we have today with the UEFA competitions, World Cups, and this, and not create super leagues and not create super bubbles of super clubs. Do you agree?
I agree. I think the Super League is not inevitable, but in my opinion, we have to do something in order to keep the Super League away. Because in this moment, for example, the Super League is, like can I say, sleeping. Okay, maybe their challenge at the moment is there, but it's there. If we don't do something in order to be competitive, and obviously we need to use our weapon in a better way. The weapon has to be really, how can I say, strong. The financial regulation, the solidarity mechanism, the structure of the smaller team has to be really there, because otherwise the Super League at the moment, again, they're not talking this moment, but in 2 years, because obviously the top club, what do they want? They want to control football. They want to have more power and more revenues, obviously. And if I have to talk about what you were asking before, about the game between, I don't know, Real Madrid and club in Kazakhstan, or Bayern Monaco and Pafos, we cannot miss this kind of game, in my opinion, because otherwise you risk to lose what's the most important football, which is the supporter. Because if you don't give in the crowd and the support, the emotion, where the small club can compete and can win also against the giants, you are killing the crowd, you are killing football, you are killing everything. So this is something, in my opinion, to evaluate even better and better. So talking about the Super League, I don't think it's inevitable, but if football doesn't do something concrete in order to maintain this kind of meritocracy, because the formula of the Champions League today is a combination between the sporting merit and competitivity. This is important. If we are going to destroy the sporting merit, we are going to destroy an important part of this amazing sport.
Sure. At clubs like Barcelona FC, presidential elections, such as the one that brought Jean Laporta back to business, strongly influence on the club system. From your perspective, how important is leadership at the top, and should the chairman be actively involved in the operation side of a club, or remain more strategic and behind the scenes?
Yeah, actually we lived now the process of elections in Barcelona, and good for everyone that Laporta won and gave us a cycle of 5 years to work with stability. That is very important in this business. I would say that the perfect approach for a president is to be strategic, to be a bit more overseeing the operations. What happens in Barcelona at the moment is there is a lot of trust from the president in the sport director, Deco, and that for me is the way that has to be, because the sportive side on the football department, because Barcelona is a lot of sports inside of the club, but in the football department, I would say that is the biggest, is the baby of Barcelona fans. So it will be in the end always the most important thing to look at. And the way you construct the operations side has to be to live in the bubble, to be very close cycle, because there is a lot of factors that you have to control on the day-to-day, and having this trust from the big boss, from the president, to operate every single day gives you the calmness to do the things that you have to do. And I think the best way for sure is to have this overseeing approach, not be every single day on the operation side.
Miguel, for you, president or chairman is the strategic figure or the man who should be in the changing room before the game, after the game? What do you think?
I'm not a good example because I'm there every day. But try at maximum build your organization, respect the roles, and always be there to support the roles. In a perfect model, it's not my model, I need to tell you, but in a perfect model, the vision of the president is the man who can support, is the man who creates bridges, is the man we are there behind the professionals, is the man who are there to support the organization, and the organization works, and you are there. Only like a guy who make the things happen because support the professionals who are making the things happen. In Famalicão, I can't say it's different because I'll try at maximum do it like that. But Famalicão is a very small club, and it's a club with 7-8 years in this new era, in this new perspective, and these things take time. Building the departments, give enough support and know-how to the departments. For us, it's super clear inside our model what we need, and it's a permanently challenge. The club is an SAD, is a company, owns the company. It's one important company, Quantum Pacific. We are in touch with them to make our Famalicão growing, and I really believe in 3-4 years we have to touch really the break even about what means our ride. So far we have I believe sports break even. I really believe inside of money we have the financial side, our break even as well. Infrastructures, no. We have today a good training center, but a horrible stadium. We are working for build a new stadium. And when we are in the moment with infrastructures, structure, sports, money, at the same level, in a positive level of course, I really believe Famalicão achieve completely break even, and we can operate it more objective than subjective. Today we still operate it in a quite subjective way. Persons and roles and guys who take the control of the operation because they are that man and not because that role and that role.
Cristiano, many smaller clubs, if you compare the size with Barcelona FC or Real Madrid, now focus on developing young players and later transferring them to larger clubs. Do you think, is this the model sustainable long term, or does it limit the ability to build consistently competitive clubs?
in my opinion, is a sustainable model as long as you know what club you are. Obviously, by developing players and selling the best of them, it's not easy to be consistent from a technical point of view in the long term. Because, again, you're losing the best players because you want to make your club sustainable, but you cannot always obtain also the same result on the pitch because it's not always every season you have a replacement at the highest level as you had when you've been successful. So this is quite tricky situation, but there are many clubs who adopt this kind of model, and they are recognized as a selling club with a clear vision. Okay, Famalicão, for example, is a clear example because they are selling players, but they didn't play the European competition yet. Maybe they will arrive to do it, of course, but it's not easy at all, unless. And I work also in the past in a club where we were used to sell the best players, really with the highest level. If we would have kept them, we could have tried to play for winning the Serie A, not for the qualification in Europe. But our model was to keep on selling players because we want to maintain the sustainability of the club. Okay, so it's important to understand where you are and which is your plan. The best combination, obviously, is where you keep developing players to sell them and to maintain the highest level. Of course, this is what we want to do. This is why we're working in this environment. But again, it's not always easy. The important is to be, to be aware about your plan. Otherwise, can be a bit frustrating, also for the supporter, because they see that the best player they're gonna go to leave every season, and then the club doesn't succeed in properly. So, but again, it's about the clarity. Once you have the clarity, you have your plan, and you are giving this communication to the environment, I think is a very sustainable model, especially for the smaller club. This is where you have to work with. This is where you have to improve using your data, coaches, developing academy, etc. You have to work for developing players to sell them and to create a sustainable environment for the club.
João,
Let me only add one thing, because I fully agree with Cristiano. It's super easy. If you build a lineup in the last 3 years of Famalicão, a lineup players Famalicão sell, the question is,
you were fighting for the championship.
My middle, I play with
Europe.
One is Panetta, the left back is Moura. For our level, like with this team, we beat Braga. Yeah, I think so. We'll compete with them. But it's a process.
And this is honestly a choice, because you can also, maintain your best players, because they are giving you more guarantee, not the 100%, but giving you more guarantee to play the Euro competition. Euro competition today, they are allowing the club to get good money, because from the conference, Europe, obviously from the Champions League, it's about to get good money. But our goal as a sporting director in this case is to try to combine everything, no? And to push your team to combine everything, your staff to combine both, to developing players, to sell them, and to maintain the highest level by entering always every season in the Euro competition. It's not easy at all, but this is something that we can do it.
But I think that what shows that your project is successful mostly is that maybe when was the project starting, you were not able to sustain like players like Gustavo Sá that long, and now you can. And this, I think, for clubs like Famalicão, is the biggest challenge of the project. Because in the beginning, you have to sell, because you have to show to the market that you are able to sell the Famalicão brand, like it is now. But in the beginning, it was not like this. But the biggest challenge for the clubs like this, it's to be able to sustain more time the best players and to sell them for the biggest price as possible. So I think is what really shows that your project is being on the right way is that when you are able to keep the best players as long as possible.
And Joao, another twist in our conversation from the perspective of a major club like Barcelona FC. How often do smaller clubs identify talents before the giants do right now?
I think it's a bit like Cristiano spoke. What is the goal of the club? What is the vision of the club? I think it's very, very difficult for Barcelona to find players that have the level to play in Barcelona. And our risk is very small. So it's a bit of a gamble, this part of recruiting players. And the smaller clubs, they can gamble more than the biggest clubs. So I think it's more about this. We can find in Barcelona a lot of players, unknown talents, but you are able to risk it for them to play in Barcelona. It's difficult to happen this. We have the story of recently of Vitor Roque that we brought from Atlético Paranaense. That is a good club in Brazil, but it's not a big club. I'm making this example because I think it's really important this for a big club like Barcelona. When you recruit a player, you have to consider also this. When they come from a challenging club that gives you every single game to be winning, you have to win every single game. For example, if you buy a player from Palmeiras, the pressure that they are able to have every single day, it's more similar what they will face when they reach this kind of clubs. So they will be more close to be ready to, but even that, they will not. But they are more close to be ready to play as a very demanding environment as a Barcelona is. So when we bought Vitor Roque, he came as a huge talent, but he came from Atlético Paranaense. That they don't face the pressure that a Palmeiras player has. They don't have to win every single game. If they lose 2-3 games in a row, yeah, it's bad, but life goes on. In Palmeiras, it's not like this. And in Barcelona, it's exactly the same. So when we recruit players, talents, we have to consider also of all of these things. And Miguel said one thing that is really important. Why Portugal is becoming a very trustable market for the big championships or clubs? Because you can see that the players in Portugal, especially for the big clubs, they have an amount of pressure is very big. And when you play in Benfica, if you don't win a game, if you draw a game, it's already the end of the world. So that's why the players from Portugal, they come directly to the big 5 championships, and they can perform. I think this is the biggest difference when you scout a player. So that's why Barcelona needs medium teams to scout and to recruit players, and to rely on them to also give this middle step.
Miguel, looking ahead, do you believe football's financial gap between big and small clubs will continue to widen? Or are there mechanisms that could help create a more balanced competitive landscape?
No, I think we'll continue the gap because the size bring the gap. However, I think the clubs are more and more ready to buy themselves, are better. You understand the level of the importance of the market. You understand the importance of the bonus, the prize awards, the marketing, the people, and the clubs are growing. But at the end, this is like an ecosystem. And we are in different positions. As you can compete inside your position, you have clearly your goal, you run a club, you have 3 examples here. The same sport, the same industry, but different clubs. One plays Champions League, one plays Super Champions League, one plays Portuguese League. All these 3 clubs are healthy, all these 3 clubs compete, all these 3 clubs have vision, all these three clubs build a philosophy for this vision, and they are three clubs, they are growing. If we speak about money, or we speak about budgets, it's very different. His budget, my budget, his budget is different. However, you need as a club, not find solutions to reduce the gap. No, you need to find solutions for your club growing, and your club growing with the capacity to make more money, to be more strong, to growing as a club, as an organization, your club, not a collective perspective. Of course, after solidarity mechanisms, more and more. UEFA is taking care, of course, because when you reduce this gap, it's better for everybody, even for them. In Portugal, I always give this example of Manuel Ugarte, and this example explains what means when you reduce the gap. Famalicão, because Famalicão have a very rich owner, bought one player in Uruguay, 2.5 million, Manuel Ugarte. For us was impossible. But it's a good operation, it's a good opportunity to do it now. We sell the player, and after Sporting come to Famalicão and bought the player, we keep 50%. After Sporting sell to PSG. If Famalicão didn't have the capacity to went to Uruguay and bought Ugarte, Sporting don't have the capacity to sell Ugarte to PSG. So I really believe in leagues like Portugal, if clubs size of Famalicão can grow in and can sign players with capacity to play in the next level, Porto, Benfica, Sporting, it's good not for only for us, it's good for Porto, Benfica, Sporting, because you have lots of risks when you hire in internal market. They already have adaptation, most of the South Americans. And when you have a league like Portuguese league with 3 super clubs for our reality, 3 super clubs, and other 15 clubs growing and have the capacity to provide good players to the 3 bigs, everybody growing. And in Europe it's the same. And when I said the solidarity mechanism is not taking care about the poor clubs, no. It's create this kind of competition. Give tools to the clubs, improve their game in the squads, because the next step will improve as well. And a process, not a process like, oh, poor club. No. Be strong club to compete with me, because when you are strong, I will compete more, and collective, we jump.
By the end, this gap will increase or will decrease? That's the question.
That's the question.
And for you?
In my opinion, will increase, because again, as we said earlier, starting from the Superliga, the Giants club, the top class, they will never give up for the Super League, for getting more control of football, for getting more powerful. So they are fighting for that. Obviously, the smaller club will survive, of course, also with very good result, of course. But bridging the gap between the top clubs and the smaller one, I see it very, very difficult. My opinion, again, in the near future, is destiny is to be increased. But let's see.
Maybe Super League on the horizon. Nobody knows. And finally, if you could, João, if you could give one piece of advice to clubs like Famalicão and the Pafos from Barcelona point of view, how aiming to grow and compete internationally, what that advice could be?
I had an experience before Barcelona in Rio Ave, that is, Miguel knows, it's a historical club in Portugal, more or less the same level of Famalicão. And when the owners bought the club, we started the process of understanding what was the goal of the project, because it's like Cristiano says, you have to ask the owners or yourself what you guys want for this club, and from there you have to start. But for me, it's it's when we begin a project, it's really important to focus on the infrastructures, to have the best qualified persons also working for your departments. Only with this base you can start the rest of the process, the players. Because you can have a lot of good players, but if you don't have good infrastructures, a good structure, a good environment around the team, European competitions will never happen. So I think it's a process that always start of having this. I think the advice is to focus on having the best infrastructures as possible. When I mean infrastructure, is everything, is stadium, training ground, everything that is related with the football operations, and with that, I think it's more close to the success.
Thank you very much. I believe that there are some questions from audience. Yeah, what was the comment? Yeah, I just came in.
Okay, thank you very much. This was fantastic. I've got a question about talent identification. I know in order to get a good return on investment, you have to go early and scout the young talent. But research shows an intriguing results. It shows that if you take the child prodigies that are good in football or any other thing, they are rarely the ones that are going to end up being the elite athletes. And the other way around, if you take the elite athletes, they're usually not the ones who focused early on a sport. They're usually the ones that had more diverse experience, tried different things and focused on football. So my question is there an age, a particular age group that you think, from your experience, that is the ideal age group to scout young talents, given that bodies change, the brain develops, and many things change? Is there a particular age groups that you focus on when you try to scout young players?
I would say that we all are special individuals. We will mature on a different stages, so it's difficult to say when is the best moment to scout a player, because they will be all different. We have a lot of examples of players. We have Rafinha in our squad. That for me is a big example of this. If you saw him maybe when he was 18 in Brazil, in Havaí, he was a normal player. You would never imagine that he would reach the very top. So I think it's a very interesting thing, this, where we can understand is the best timing to find the talent. It will depend a lot in each individual, because it's not a age.
I think, no, João, this is a different question. Has to be, to me, asked to a top club or to a selling club. Because obviously,
Completely.
And Miguel can give you completely different answer from your answer. So I don't know what you are looking for in this answer, but if it's a selling club, obviously the range has to stay no higher than 22, 23 years old. Because normally in 2-3 years you want to develop the player and to sell him.
Yeah,
Barcelona, they have to win.
On the business part, of course, the answer is totally different. I would say on the business part, you have to try now, as I will speak about Barcelona. We are now trying to sign players on the 16, on the moment of the first professional contract, because it's the best moment to try to get the best players for the less money. So on the business way of view, I would say this. But of course, it's totally different for every club. This.
Okay, we're ready for next question. Yeah, please.
Good morning. 2 questions for João. First one is how it was your rejoin, let's say like that, with Rafinha, taking into account that when he moved from Havaí with 19 years old to Guimarães, you were his agent. Yeah, you were working as an agent. and now you find him after this whole the extraordinary track record that he achieved in Barcelona. So, what is your relationship? How you manage this relationship when you now have a different position as a director and this as a player? How it feels this? Second question, how important it is for Barcelona, for instance, having the B team to scout young players with 16 years old, 18, 19. We know that, as Cristiano says, there's a big difference when we are scouting a player for a selling club or for a top club. But you are at the same time a top club, but you need to sell players as well. So how important it is to have or a B team or belonging to a multi-ownership structure like City, that has City Group has more than 10 clubs. So they use the other clubs to supply the biggest one, that is Manchester City.
So about Rafinha, of course, it's very enjoyable now to see him on the level that he reached, because he was a player that had an amazing trajectory in football. I think now at the moment we have to have a more professional approach with him, but it works very, very well because, of course, as he is a leader in the dressing room, the communication that we can have with him, it's always was already built for these many years, especially with Deco. So I think it's this relationship between one of the captains and the sport director that brings that comes also from the past. It's also a very useful tool for us. And about the second question, also it's the biggest challenge I think we are facing at the moment, that we are asking ourselves, what is the real project that we have for the B team? Because I feel that when this will be clear, we will come also to another level, not only on the performance side, because also on the business side, because I think Barcelona as a club also has, with all these financial restrictions that we have to find opportunities in the market to have players that are not only for the first team. So we have to use also our B team to have business opportunities, to sell players, to give us more revenues, more money, also to allow us to have more financial fair play. So I think the project for the B team, it will be always about recruiting young players and not about the performance. At the moment we are in the 4th division in Spain. Of course it was better to be in the 3rd division, to go to the first ref. But I think in the end the focus has to be more about the development of the players, and to try to get from that players as maximum as possible on the performance, on the business side. That is the biggest challenge that we are facing.
Okay, do you have some more questions? You're not ready? No? Oh, right. Wait a second.
Good morning from me as well. The question is, do you think that clubs always have to find ways to get bigger and expand, even if that means that their identity or their character might change? Or should they keep a strong identity, a strong character, and keep doing their same operations, but in a more successful way?
I didn't understand the question, if you can...
So do you think that clubs should always try and find ways to get bigger and expand, even if that means that their identity might deform or their character might deform? Or should they try and keep their identity and character as strong as possible and keep doing the same operations that they're doing, but in a more successful and productive way?
No, I think identity is the key. Identity, the vision. When you have that clear in your club, I think is half of the way to reach the success. So I think, yeah, they have to keep it.
So thank you very much, gentlemen. Joao, Miguel, and Cristiano, your applause. Thank you very much. It was very productive and very interesting. So we move on, and I would like to ask our next guest to be here. The topic is technology, sustainability, and high-performance environments. Today with us, Andy Simmons, the director of KSS. But before he starts, I would like to pay your attention after the presentation and the session of Q&A. Please find in the corner our beloved Anna Maria if you would like to take a part in football matches, paddle or chess. So she's waiting for you in the corner after the presentation. And now it's time for Andy, because right now we will find so many, I believe in it, so many interesting things about Anfield, about that stadium, Liverpool Stadium, great stadium, one of the greatest on earth. So Andy, stage is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, great to be here. Thank you, Roman, for the invitation. Delighted to be here and hopefully can return again. Thank you, Anna Maria, for the arrangements. I'm going to give you a sort of a different perspective. I mean, it's been some fascinating presentations, but I'm an architect. I'm a sports architect, and so I'm going to give you some of the challenges and outcomes of creating the physical reality to these visions and identities and dreams, and how we convert those into the demands of expansion and facilities whilst holding everything together. We're a full-service architectural practice, but to be honest, we are 90% sport. We focus specifically on stadiums and training centres around the world. The trickiest thing we have in these presentations at conferences is to be able to talk about something. We have maybe 24 restrictions, should we say, at the moment, NDAs, and so most of some of the amazing work that's emerging from the studio, I will maybe only be able to tell you about in 3 or 4 years. Stadia, training centres, arenas, and we actually technically audit other companies' work. So we have a lot of companies and clubs, specifically mainly clubs that we've worked with over the years, and we're on our 35th birthday this year, so it's quite a lot. But we pride ourselves on loyalty and discretion with our clients, and particularly long-term relationships. The first thing we did in the very first year we opened was Chelsea Football Club, and we've worked with Chelsea every single year since. There's never a single complete development that you leave and walk away. It's a constant ongoing process, which you'll see from this. The relationship with Brighton, for example, a very data-driven club. We learnt a lot about that on these last couple of days. I've been with them since 1997, so we value that a lot. You'll see there is a very relatively recent relationship with Pafos FC, which is a warm and lovely relationship, and I'm enjoying it a great deal. I'd love to show you the worst and best kept secret at the moment, which is the new stadium. Maybe Total Summit next year we can unveil that, or at least the story behind it, because hopefully you might well have seen it in the press by that time. So I'm going to give you 3 topics today. I need your fast ears and your quick ears, because I'm going to talk about the challenges of redeveloping while still playing in major stadiums. I'm going to give you an insight into what's going on in elite training centres, and then I'm going to finish with a little bit about monetization and drivers behind stadiums and how we're trying to identify our fan base and where revenue can be generated. So, topic number 1. I was to talk about the Anfield expansion. Tricky, of course, because these are ongoing stadiums in the city centre, restrictive conditions that are absolutely committed to staying playing while they're redeveloped. They cannot lose the revenue, want to lose even a single seat. So when you do major developments in these situations, it's frankly more of a technical challenge than it is a piece of architecture. But The crux here was that this was built in just under 2 years, whilst 45,000 fans visited the stadium every single match. They didn't lose a single match or a single game. There was a scheme, you may remember, out in the park, in Stanley Park, previous American owners, a big spaceship scheme landed in the middle of the park. Nobody really liked it. Fenway Sports Group comes in, John Henry comes along, and he says to us, and agreed with us, thankfully, that they absolutely had to stay at Anfield. One of the most intimidating stadiums you could ever be in. How could they ever actually leave Anfield? So that was clear between us that he knew what he wanted, we knew what we had to resolve. So this is the, as it was, this is the West Stand, as it was just here. And you can see it's in a classic Northern England relationship of really tight old industrial city terraced houses. Quite a lot of them, well, they were buying up those terraced houses for about 20 years in order to do this. So we brought the park into the landscape and massively developed the stadium and had a big, excellent tribute to the 96. The heritage, and the industrial shipbuilding, they wanted it. John Henry said, I have to tell you, you have to make it look like it's always been there. Very happy with heavy steel, absolutely want brick. You know Liverpool. Don't give me anything bling, nothing shiny. I want solidity, I want intimidation, I want purpose. And so that's how the architectural form came about. But the challenge was the technical challenge. This is the existing stand. 11,000 seats, virtually no accommodation, dreadful supporting areas, tight standards, and we built this up and over behind it while it was still in operation. We had a clear gap between the two for functional separation between the structures, but also access and egress into that stand. And we built this monster up and over. We've gone from 2 stories to 8 stories. This is the scale of the operation. If you look at the image on the right-hand side there, you'll see the existing stand underneath the massive up and over arching structure of the new stadium above it. In fact, the roof of the existing stand was the crash deck for the construction processes. So we went from that, and then over the course of one closed season, we quickly whipped off the roof of the existing stand and patched the two together with the middle tier. And lo and behold, we had a 20,000 seat stadium, one of the biggest single stand stadiums in Europe. And we went from this, even with some old prop columns at the front, to what you see now on the television. And you add that noise wall to the cop that you're seeing there on the left-hand side, and you've got serious intimidation. We had this was in the Klopp years, and Klopp had relatively recently come from Dortmund. He enjoyed his yellow wall, of course, and we said to him before we built this, don't worry, it'll be even better. To which he replied, go forth and multiply, in his usual friendly way. Like, there's no way you're going to do that. But to be honest, he was really sweet, as he is, lovely guy. He said, my God, you've done it. It's awesome. So, yeah, a good success story. But what is filling all that space? How do you create that? Well, we'll talk later about GA. There are 2,000 GA, premium GA, that middle tier brand that is really coming in, and I'll touch on it later. But also 4,000 hospitality packages within this. So Liverpool is a gritty northern town, but it has a lot of money, and of course it sells out every single game. So we then went on to do the Anfield Road stand in recent years, finished that in 24, and they finally got to join the 60,000 club, the benchmark essentially of where the Premier League is now for financial fair play competitiveness. So what happened after that is other clubs who had similar issues and similar expansion demands, but great worry about the loss of revenue, jumped on this, and we're now doing 3 of these within the Premier League. You get the impression that all the stadiums in the Premier League are just done, finished, what's next? It's not the case. It is a constant evolution. In training centres and stadiums, the assets are constantly evolving. Leeds, classic heart of the Industrial Revolution, textiles, again, a tough northern city. with a very clear identity of what it wanted. It's got a 4-stand attitude for particular fan base groups, and a very hardcore fan base, but they definitely can fill the seats if they can get them. So we knew where we were coming from with this. They're very happy with expressed steel and brick and stone. And so we went from this, or going for this is in stage 4 construction detailing, to this, which will be a monster transformation for them. We have a west stand increase from 8 to 17,500, taking them from 38 to 53. It's a big lump, a big jump, but they'll fill it. I have no doubt they'll fill it. You'll see a very similar tactic here from this to this. Everyone has realized that this is possible. They believe in it. They trust it. So we're going from this to this. Okay, moving on. This also has a significant amount of hospitality spaces throughout it. The full range, 8-tier hierarchy of hospitality. Okay, at the moment, just about to get planning consent, Nottingham Forest. I do hope they stay up. I really do. Although Mr. Marinakis has absolutely sworn to us, regardless if they dropped the championship, which honestly they do talk about. Is sometimes some clients just won't talk about it, but he openly talked about it. He says, "Don't worry, I'm going to do it regardless." Hope he does. It's a question. Shout out to George Vu here as to who might actually go down this year. We'll see. So this was Riverside Heritage, obviously big heritage. Great quote there from Brian Clough. If you read it, River Trent is lovely. I know because I walked on it for 18 years. Rather than by it. But another heritage, as in industrial heritage, that they know what they're about. So we're going from this on the riverside to something dramatically different. And this is actually quite technically challenging scheme, more so than the others. They're very happy with brick and stone. Marinak has absolutely demanded the red lid roof in this room. Don't like that. Not too subtle. But at least we managed to keep red in a High Plains drifter style off most of the building. Keep that to yourself. So the stand section going from this to this, huge. But the key thing here is they actually wanted to fill in the corner. They wanted to sweep the seats around the corner as well, which is normally where you put the structure, as you can see. So you can't put structure in the corner if you want to sweep the seats around it. So when we go into the new system, the riverside stand there on the right has no space at the back to extend backwards. So we have put a massive truss above it. And the roof of the main stand on the left there bridges into, T-bones the main truss, in order that the structure of that riverside stand flies clear over the stadium and comes down to the ground outside, in which case we get to wrap the seating completely around the corner with unobstructed views. So technically challenging. Last one of these, before we move on to training centres, Selhurst Park. Now here we're down in Bling World, we're down in London now. We've left the gritty north and we have a situation where it's Crystal Palace. They have a pretty strong identity of where they're at, but they actually wanted a Crystal Palace. They wanted to hark back to that time of the exposition and rebuild something that was highly glazed, highly branded. So we're moving from something that is really quite bleak, should we say, and low scale, to something that is very in your face, and they're very happy with this, and we've just started on site with this one. From this to this, and from ending up with this. So if anybody, you know Selhurst Park, we've got a few people that visit the grounds, you'll know this will be quite transformative for them. So, there's a lot of that going on, a lot of expansion, everyone's seeking the capacity to maintain their financial edge. So, complete shift, training centres. This for us really this is the engine room of what happens. This is where it actually really matters. This is where the players are signed. This is where the players are actually seduced to join a club. This is where the This is where it's at. This is the 9 to 5 Monday. They're playing at the stadium every couple of weeks, but this is their daily life. So the quality of these facilities is paramount, not just for the philosophy of the club as to the way they evolve the players, but actually the way they entrance the players in the first instance. So we'll start with Leicester City. I've been asked to skip across a few elite training centres and give you a little bit of insight about what drove them. So they're all big, let's just say this. In Leicester, of course, is recently relegated, but this is in its Premier League days, and hopefully it'll be back. 180 acres, course of 80, 90 acres, 20-odd pitches, and amazing facilities. Quite a lot of consistent philosophy in progress from academy through to first team, through under 18 and under 21 squads and reserve teams. This is expressed in the right-hand side of the building being academy, under 8s, 10s, 12s, working towards a central shared space of recreation and social mixing, and then on the left-hand side there, that's the first team directly overlooking their pitches. As you can see, it has a full-size indoor pitch, which is the signature point of arrival at the ground, and it's a bespoke 105 by 68 full-size pitch, bespoke structure. So they've allowed us to design some very nice accommodation. The entire operation of the club is here, and as you can see, the sporting director doesn't actually need to go down pitch side. He can see the first team train from the balcony there. The training facilities, changing rooms, of course, this is full squad. So we're looking at 30, 35 positions. It's light, it's bright. It's unlike the more atmospheric changing rooms that we put into stadiums, which are all about pre-match psychology. This is a training centre changing room. Excellent physio facilities. We find these are growing and growing and growing. 12 plinth facilities for physio is entirely typical now, as is superb gyms, not just fitness gyms, but recovery gyms and rehabilitation gyms, sometimes quite separate. Nutrition, I think we talked, the Mighty Kitchen were talking about this yesterday, absolutely key. Personalised player programmes. They arrive and they know exactly what they're going to be eating. Typically the food is stunningly good quality, of course, but there are quite a lot of cases of personal nutrition plans. They have breakfast, they have lunch, and if they could possibly control what they had for dinner, they would. And if they feel some of the players aren't eating well, they will send a chef to their home to make sure that they do eat well in the evening. This is a wraparound service. Excellent hydrotherapy. This is the bit that changes every time, and it's tricky to get it right or correct because the medical teams come and go. We start these projects, they may be realised 4 or 5 years later. The coaches left, the medical teams, the head medical teams left, and all the philosophy that came with them as to whether they want hypoxic rooms, hyperbaric rooms, cryo, whether they're into hot and cold rooms, saunas, Hammam slabs, this has all of that. But the team that comes in that wants to use it constantly changes their mind about whether they're even interested in that or how much they want to use it. So we find ourselves on the briefing of clubs and their facilities. We work at the top level of the ownership. We're talking about the core, ultimate attitude and philosophy of the club long term, not the whims of a particular coach or a medical team at the time. They are transitional. So flexibility ends up being the key. Sometimes we put in spaces just because we want to keep the coach of the day happy, but the ownership very well knows that we're going to rip that space out and make it into something else when they're gone. And so we have to make sure that is capable of happening. So AXA Training Centre, I think, is a bit more grounded, but this is one of the first ones that started to really embrace the idea that training centres are not actually super secret all the while. They are an incredible good way of engaging sponsors and partners. Particularly sponsors and partners want to be with the team, spend time with the team, and monetising that and engaging sponsors with the team outside of the stadium in the day-to-day activities of the team players is a really powerful tool. They moved from their exclusive Melwood facility say exclusive, the problem was it had a 8-foot-high wall, and you could stand on a dustbin on the other side of that wall and watch the first team play and watch all of their set moves and their corners, and it wasn't particularly private. So the move here was to co-locate with the academy, which is the building on the left, and there's an aspirational pathway where you play if you're 8 years old on the little pitches, and you work your way through the age groups until you're at the development squad and the under-18s on this side of the building, and then you hope to ultimately, of course, enter that building, the hallowed land of the reserves and the first team. The first team on the right-hand side, and they have the exclusive use of 3 full-size pitches, skills grids, dedicated goalkeeper training, and a complete wrap-around 6-metre-high landscape wall, so that nobody can see what they're doing. But you enter the building on the public side, it's all about the brand. Absolutely about the brand. Not particularly expensive fit out. This is burnt incised plywood cladding, crafting, you know, the brand and the history and obviously the championships and the whole winning timeline of Liverpool. It's where they receive sponsors and guests and visitors. And it's a 2-story linear atrium, reserves on one side, first team on the other. It's quite clearly set out. All the admin functions are at first floor. This is a graphic based on key statements, principally "you'll never walk alone," etc., which creates a nice sort of on-brand filtered light through the upper walkways. This has changed. I mean, this has evolved since when he built it a few years ago. It's evolved. They realised that the players were just coming straight in, going to the gym, going to the changing room. So they deliberately interrupt them now with a touchpoint coffee shop where the coaches and the media team grab them, particularly the media team. They grab them to sign shirts. They grab them to update their TikTok or their Instagram or their social media program. They pull them to one side and make sure that that aspect, critical aspect of players and clubs and the deeper identity and fan base engagement these days. Or the coach might grab them and say, actually, you're not playing today. Remember, don't go to the gym. You're on a rest day or you're going to rehab. This is your program. Grab some breakfast and we'll see you in the rehab. So the players are sort of effectively processed as they come through here. But I think it's one of the more grounded clubs. It's more pragmatic. I think it's not particularly flash. It's one of the smaller training centres we did, which is strange because it's one of the biggest clubs. But they didn't need the level of Leicester, didn't want it. This is the first team training centre, dining room, for example. I think it's quite nice, clean, good quality, but it's quite basic, I'd say, in the world of Premier League. And the gym, I think, equally spec'd. Obviously attractive space, but it's relatively simple for what we normally do. Tottenham. George, I'm going to say something positive about Tottenham. This remains a superb training centre. This is a club with a very clear vision of what they're about, a very clear philosophy. It is, again, multi-faceted. It has community pitches, big academy, and an excellent first-team training facility. And it works on the philosophy that the academy wing is rough-hewn stone-clad, and the first-team wing is pure white and the finished product. And everything about it is the philosophy of crafting a rough product into the finished perfection product. But attention to detail is incredible, and they still maintain it to a superb standard. You could visit there now, and you'd honestly look like it was built yesterday. So it's fantastic. Particularly the grounds team, stunning quality of pitches throughout, including all the academy pitches. So this is just a feel for the entrances. You can see it's very much on brand. This is pure white with hints of blue. They use their some of their sub palettes of yellow and lime, but it's absolutely pristine. It's perfect. It's about doing things beautifully, which is a core philosophy. They receive at the academy end all the public-facing elements. The first team here is actually very private still, but they deal with press and press engagements from the academy side. Changing room again, extremely well specified and huge. and the physio facilities. You can see the scale of those. It's one of the more flashier gyms, should we say. It's got some phenomenal equipment, as they all do. Again, all personally programmed. The players are coming in with their own little fob. They plug their fob into the machines. Each machine gives them a personalised program, which has been set by the coaches for the number of the scale and the number of reps of whatever they're doing on any given machine. And all of that, of course, is massively monitored in the huge data gathering world that we're in. It looks out to the pitches and it's overlooked by the first team dining room, which is this view here. You can see looking down into it. Attention to detail is just mad in all respects. Daniel Levy came along and griped that the shadow gap between that incised Korean piece of wording was fractionally different from the top to the bottom. And could we just nudge it up a little bit, please? So, yeah, it's good to see. Indoor pitch, 3/4 size indoor pitch, a bespoke structure again. It's a good facility. So, Brighton and Hove, massive data-based club, but without repeating going through the facilities of which are very similar, the one thing about Brighton is they're really into whole player development and the educational pathway. They have embraced fully, and expect their parents to embrace it, that the 3% rule of making it. So many do not, and they are really big on preparing them and absorbing them into the club if they don't make it, giving them the fallback education. But they've gone further into a thing that is really big, which is mental illness and mental stress in the Premier League. The preparation and the intensity of the competitiveness through the academy, the chance of being cut at the 2-year age groups, and ultimately, the stress of, succeeding, takes its toll. And they've invoked a whole player attitude for social support, mental support, making sure that the players, particularly through the academy, have a life outside of football and develop as whole people. Not just in case they fail, but these are the ones that become the characters and the personalities and ultimately the leaders on the pitch. People with a wider perspective of life. They're quite basic in their facilities. This is a off-the-shelf indoor pitch, so it does the job. But this is a spa and wellness centre which they've created for the staff and their guests and the players and their families, who come for literally for spa days and wellness days. Beautiful sensorial showers, hammams, massage areas, jacuzzis, you name it. They have invested a lot, and it's nothing to do with the players and performance. It's about feeling good. And then just to touch on other things we're doing around the world, like Caption George, warm weather training centres are big business. Training centres that don't actually have a home team, they're fundamentally in the business of providing training centres, winter training centres for Northern and Eastern European clubs. We're just about to open this summer, this one in Dubai, next to an established twin hotel and golf course resort, which of course is the key. You need a high quality hotel resort base. But we're creating, amongst other things, a couple of cricket pitches, but 6 training centres, each with full-size pitch, skills and goalkeepers, and a hub of changing facilities which go down a spine route to a main hub which provides central services. Big business in Dubai, and this particular company, which have a couple of training centres, have decided to go large on it with 6. It has a 2,000-seat show pitch for competitions, and the hub building with sports science, sports medicine, a couple of huge gyms rentable, gives you all the backup to be a home-from-home Premier League facility. Okay, still with me? How are we doing? Okay, so now, quick whiz into stadium trends, okay? What is filling up those huge stadiums that we saw right at the start? All those layered floors and floors and floors. What do you put in them? Well, in stadia there's obviously very different drivers as to where you're coming from, be it private sector or public sector. We operate almost exclusively in the private sector, so the drivers for us are revenues, attendance, non-match day revenues, huge of course, and trying to define hospitality and grow the hospitality market, because that's where the real ticket price margin is. That's where the cost benefit is. Capacity, well, we've seen a lot of the top 8 clubs make some moves in that respect. Everton just opened, of course, gone to 52. Arsenal, talking a lot in the press about their move to 90,000. Tottenham recently 61,000 with the Benchmark Stadium. Manchester United with the mad circus tent, 90. Don't think that'll ever happen. We've got Liverpool made it to 62. Chelsea still dreaming about 60, be it in place or somewhere close. West Ham luckily inherited the London Stadium, and Man City already completing a second phase of growth. So 60 is the benchmark, and if you've got the fan base, even bigger. So it used to be easy to understand what your demographic was of your fan base. That's my dad there in the middle, the guy with the hat. Piece of cake. You had the directors having a glass of wine, and then you had these guys. Oh, what could be easier? Now, of course, it's a little bit more difficult to define the fan base. I'll say it again, data. But you've got the Gen Z and you've got the boomers. You've always got your ultras. You're always going to have your ultras. You've got your families that you're trying to encourage. Don't worry, it's going to be safe. You've got your sort of hardcore middle-aged blokes that will always turn up regardless, rain or shine, the backbone of any general. And you've got the corporates, of course. And what is the balance? What's the mix? Where's it going? Everyone's desperately trying to get it right. And how do they even think about them? You know, are they consumers? Are they guests? Are they patrons? We hear all these words. I mean, ultimately, of course, they're fans, but there's a lot of different words for what these people are. The next generation, though, of course, where is that coming from? It's a digital generation. We can't escape that. We know what they're into and what they're obsessed with, sadly, from a very early age. There's a lot of talk and over the last 10 years in monetizing the digital data, monetizing that thing they're holding, and seeking the single platform of unified arrival experience, hospitality, marketing, ticketing, outreach, give you some product placement, and ultimately, of course, gambling platforms. Wearable tech, not really happened, has it? I've been talking about wearable tech for about 5 years. It's not really happening, and honestly, I'm delighted. Thank you. I don't think it really has a place in a football game, but Ray-Ban Meta, AI, you're probably aware of these, are finally getting to the point where you can have like a heads-up display inside your sunglasses. You could be playing your latest video or your latest video game, in fact, or your latest music video whilst watching through your glasses a football game. But or you could call up, of course, player data. AR data overlay is what we thought we were talking about, that you have your in-game data, your in-game stats happening around you as you watch the game. Going further into the AR immersion, where you actually got virtual reality overlays whilst watching an event. Potentially completely virtual at home or in the moment. Still not really happening, not really kicking off as a thing. Because thankfully, being in the moment might be making a comeback. Actually watching the game, and I think that the beauty of football has always been fundamentally that you preferably stop your eating, your drinking, and your chatting, and you sit down for 45 focus minutes and you watch the game. You have a short break and you go back and watch the second half, and then you can start drinking and chatting again. That's what's so good about the football model as opposed to the American model, of course, in my view. But what is supporting all these people is a facilities change. That's the revolution. This is dead. This is long gone. This general supporter setup, it has changed radically. to something that is cleaner, brighter, warmer, a better food offer. It's on brand. It tells the stories of your club, this particular area in Liverpool's West Stand. If you sit on those old original wooden seats salvaged from the original West Stand, on the other side of those screens is a set of screens playing the black and white highlights of all the great games from the years of those seats of the stadium. On this side, you're in the now and you're watching the lunchtime game. But it's very popular with the older generation. They sit down there with their grandson and say, I was at this game in 1952. I saw that guy score that goal. So yeah, whilst being completely modern, we're embedding the past and the history, of course, is what it's all about. We talk about cashless. We're now cashless and staffless. Elements of trust to a degree, but cashless beer walls and cashless walk-through, super monitored, pick up and go, vending and concessions. Get a little bit above general spectator and everything's get very blurred. Really, GA, hospitality, VIP, you'll always have the presidents and the owners suite, that's a given, but everything in between is getting pretty hard to define. So premium GA, I think we all know about this. This is the one step up from GA. Some people that don't consider themselves a suit, don't consider themselves corporate, but they'd like something a little bit warmer and they'd like some better food. This is massive now, and we're putting thousands of these into stadiums or converting them to this. It's definitely a more family-friendly environment because the dwell time before and after the game is a much more pleasant experience. Formality is over completely. I don't think it's ever coming back, to be honest. I don't really see many jackets, certainly don't see any ties anymore. And I don't know whether you agree, this feels dated, doesn't it? As a pre-match experience. And I'm not sure, there's an element that wanted, but it's trending away from it, certainly. I think Instagram's over, yeah, would you say? The single, yeah, I think it's fading. Let's say it's not over, it's fading. It's still massive, but I think TikTok is overtaking it. I think the short, raw, in the moment, viral video content is where it's at, and TikTok, I think it's coming. These things are cyclical, but yeah, Instagram, TikTok, look where I am. Look who I'm with. Look what's happening. It's sadly what it's about. But the food offer is not that plate on the table. It's finger food. It's canapes. It's basket food. It's touch and go. It's casual. I don't want to eat it before the game. I'll have it after the game if that's okay. Could I have it at half time? That sort of flexibility. So exploitation of every square meter is what it's at, of course, with this. And fan zones are massive now. Pre-match and post-match, extending the match day experience 2 hours before and at least 2 hours after, with venues that give you entertainment, live entertainment, DJ entertainment, you name it, anything that will extend the spend period outside of the 2 hours of the match to something more like 6 hours. This is in the top loft area of Brighton's North Stand, where we are massively strengthening what was just a simple set of cladding steels in order to take an eight-row cantilevered extension of another 800 seats, and up here in what was some storage space, we're creating this. This is on site at the moment. It'll open in August. It's a full-blown branded storytelling pub for those 600 new guests. So they're squeezing every possible element out of the asset. There are still themes, of course, that will go on, and microbreweries, of course, is a big one. I am amazed that it's still only Tottenham that really has a microbrewery going on. Such an obvious thing to do, given the margins that you could have within that. Tunnel clubs is a very recent debate on whether they are good things, bad things, great things, the next thing. There's only 3 in the Premiership at the moment. I think they are here to stay, and I think we're going to be asked by numerous clients to squeeze these into their existing stadiums and put them in new designs. And finally, non-event day use. Huge topic in its own. It's a topic of a whole 40-minute presentation, but there's no doubt the sweating the asset tagline is absolutely key, and clubs are briefing us from the very outset to consider the non-match day equally with the match day. So I think that's enough. I'm happy to take questions.
Well, thank you very much, Andy. Absolutely fantastic. Just a couple of questions, yes. Andy, if a club were planning to build a new facility or stadium, what would be the single most important thing they should prioritize to remain competitive in the future? What do you think?
Single most important thing on a stadium?
Yeah. A facility.
You've got to get the capacity right. Absolutely got to get that right. You pin yourself into a particular capacity, it is extremely hard to grow it and extremely expensive. You've got to build in sufficient growth for the fact that you're building for something 5 years ahead, but you have to accept that this is a 60-year build. You really do not expect to be demolishing it within that time frame. So if you can't afford to build it at the outset, or your fan base doesn't justify it, make absolutely sure you've got the room to grow it.
Thank you. Any question? Yeah. Oh, lots of questions. Good.
Hey, you're laughing.
Hi, Harris. I'm nervous.
No, don't be. You accept that football is evolving, the world is evolving, yeah? We heard yesterday, we're listening today, that choosing a player is going through data, AI, yeah? Actually, we heard that making him faster goes through data and AI. Feeding him goes through AI and data. So regarding the human being, I repeat, has to do with a lot of data and AI. You're dealing with buildings. What effect has AI got to do with your job? Where you've got practically square meters, what you need regarding a stadium, pitch size and whatever, restaurants, bars, breweries, clear picture, not a human being, a building. So what effect does that have on your job?
At the moment, thankfully, it's peripheral to what we do. We work with a lot of numbers. We have dedicated script writers. We do a lot of scripting in solving some of the geometries, the more tedious, the flow rates, the exit flows and things. But thankfully, stadiums are so complicated, and there's so many facets to the brief of the sightlines, the expansion, the functionality, the brand, the fire regulations, you name it, the various movements and flows, that AI has not got to the point where it can keep pace with that and give us anything than absolute rubbish. It'll give you some shiny, pointless external imagery, which usually has a sheen to it of unreality that jumps out as AI. So for us, it's not a threat at the moment. We use elements of ChatGPT. We do some reductive summary analysis on text. We compare contracts one to the other for differences and things like that. The obvious things where AI makes sense. But for ideology, ideas creation, and for 3D geometry problem solving, it's not there yet. But as you know, it absolutely is there in the 2D world. 2022, you remember Boris Eggleston in the Sony Photography Awards, he won the Sony Best Photograph of the Year with an AI generation that took him 30 seconds. He admitted it on the stand as he took the award. The world went mad that they'd been fooled. The world's not going back from that, but thankfully for us, we're okay so far.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. I have a question about revenues. So you spoke about multi-venue stadiums that are multi-venues, basically non-match day revenue. I think the Bernabeu probably is a good example of that. And secondly, teams that fill the stadium basically every week, and you mentioned also virtual reality, which I think also Madrid are going that way. Isn't it the next best case scenario, basically to fill in the stadium from people that actually are sitting at home that cannot buy tickets to the game?
To give them a virtual reality way to join. Yeah, I mean, obviously that happens in a way because unless it's at 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, virtually every key game in the Premiership is televised. So every pub and every home and mates, they are watching it in a virtual way. You know, they're not at the game, but they're watching it through a medium of getting together. Thankfully, at the moment, they seem to want to get together as a group and chat and drink beer as a social event, albeit once removed from the stadium itself. So not seeing AR coming into that environment, they are still in the moment as best they can be, apart from actually being in the stadium.
Thank you. Paulo?
Hello, Andy. Congratulations for the presentation. It's really interesting. My question is quite simple and is more or less the same. When you accept a project from a club, we know that on holidays, for instance, the corporate seats, and we are talking about box executive seats. Normally, let's talk about a case that I know very well from Benfica. So the match day receipts, the revenues, match day revenues, last season was 62 millions. From these 62 millions, in a stadium with a capacity of 64,000, 40% came from the corporate seats. So this means that around 5,000 seats brought much more revenues than the other 61 seats in the stadium. When you are working on these new projects that you show us now, Tottenham, Liverpool, Leeds United, did the club challenge with you a solution to increase the corporate seats or to increase the normal seats, the season tickets, the fan seats? What are their priority? Is the corporate or the fans? Because for the clubs, corporates are really important. As I told you, 40% of the revenues on the match day comes from the corporates. But the coaches, the sporting directors, they want the stadium full of fans, not full of businessmen. But businessmen is the ones that they brought the revenues, the biggest revenues. Yeah. Did you face these questions when you are develop these new projects, these new stadiums?
Yes, we face it every single time. Defining the fan base and what the right mix is key. They always want the general fans, and thankfully the cameras are in the west, on the side of all the corporates who are to some extent disengaged, and you're always looking at the most engaged fans behind the goals and on the east side. So as a sporting spectacle, you're looking at real fans. But you're right. Let's say a Premier League, you've got a GA ticket at £50. You've got the GA plus around about the 100, 120. That's a great margin for the extra that you get. Then you have a corporate ticket, £500. So you're right. The small amount of corporate massively disproportionately fund the stadium, and every club is looking to provide a tiering, a hierarchy of that, which engages people to jump from one to the next over the time, and they will put in the absolute most they can. But it's, as a fit out, it's the most expensive space they will build in the stadium. You know, if you build it, they will come, doesn't really work. If they don't come, you're in trouble because you've invested a lot. So getting that balance right is key. Have you heard, you are aware of the tasting menu season ticket, where a fan that buys a relatively lower package gets a chance to experience one match in every other package, right the way up to the boardroom or the tunnel club, to entice them to upgrade next year. It's key, and it's absolutely fundamental to the first conversations we have in stadium design.
Thank you.
Yes, hello. So could you see your opinion about the esports and integration into the stadium. Do you see any possible spaces for that?
Yeah, we are including esports in wider sports master plans. Esports is quite an intense black box activity. Doesn't translate particularly well to a stadium environment. It's too intense. So what we're finding is we're creating sort of circa 5,000 to 6,000 seat arenas that have a multi-purpose arena venue, be it basketball or ice hockey or concerts, as a day-to-day business function, and then it would run an esports competition. Esports is not a day-to-day thing. It peaks with major competitions for key trending games. It had one of the biggest attendances for, when they had a Fortnite major esports showdown, but it's not day to day. It's a relatively low income, high technology situation. So if you're going to put esports contenders up on a stage, it has to be intimate, has to be arena scale, and it's occasional.
Couple of more, Andy.
All right, thank you very much for the presentation. You said in your presentation that you're cashless and staffless. Personally, I don't mind the cashless, I like it a lot, but is it just me that hates staffless? Disclaimer, I'm a psychologist, so I kind of value the human interaction. But have you done any research that shows that people actually prefer staffless facilities?
Oh no, completely. As the price point goes up, the social interaction with your hosts and your waiters or waitresses is critical to the sensation that you're having a good day and that you're well served and looked after, and the service you receive was worth the price you paid. The cashless and staffless is happening down in the general admission area, where typically throughput never matched demand at the peak points just before the game and particularly at half time. When you're trying to potentially give a snack or food to 4,000 to 6,000 to 8,000 people in a 15-minute window, unless you have that kind of technology, you lose revenue. So it's people that just want that pint, just want that pie, just want that snack, and they want it however they can get it, and they don't want to miss the game. They don't mind that no one has given them a smile and a welcome and have a nice day. But you get up to the boxes and the lounges, and it's there to stay.
All right, thank you.
Hi, Andy. Amazing presentation, really compelling and beautiful transformation, so congratulations, super interesting. I'm actually a football agent. I've had the opportunity to go around many of those stadiums in the UK, so I look forward to seeing the newest additions. Two stadiums, which are two training facilities, which really stood out in the last few years. We were in Norwich. I thought their training facility was very good, as well as Middlesbrough. Fantastic, so congratulations. My question is more about the commercial construct of these deals, because to the best of my knowledge, these clubs don't own the stadiums. They're on long-term leases. Obviously, there's property deals around them. There's a massive influx of revenue streams, multi-layered revenue streams, et cetera, which I guess are the crux of the real earnings. So when a club is contemplating these kind of extensions, which I guess would, if I got the numbers right, maybe 20% of the capacity, they're probably double-digit millions or something. So you've got a wealthy club in terms of the turnover of the numbers, but then is it mainly the owners who are financing it or dipping into their pockets, maybe some friendly bank lines? Because in the end, they're adding a huge amount of equity to the stadium. My first question is, from a business deal point of view, I guess it's an absolute no-brainer, right? Because the jump in the revenue streams, once it's completed, is massive. Also, all of these kind of cross-pollinating things with the pre and post-match, which I think is phenomenal, because it's really a question of how long they're hanging around before and after. But I guess it's pretty much of a no-brainer from that point of view. But in the end, where does the equity go? Or does it even really matter where the equity goes, right? Because if it's held in the stadium, the licensing and the operational side isn't a problem, right? So I guess it doesn't really matter where the equity goes. Does that even come into the equation? That's my first question.
Yeah, I think the difference is that unlike most European stadiums, which are municipality owned, and the clubs are essentially leasing them, although that dynamic is changing. It was massively that way in Italy, and they are actually changing into private hands. There's only one stadium in the Premier League that isn't in in private ownership. So it's a completely private estates with ownership investment by single individuals, and a few of those left, but mainly sports groups, sports investment groups, typically quite a lot of American sport investment groups. And they're absolutely committed to ROI, and it has to be quite aggressive. So you take the Liverpool example, that was a £120 million development. Critical that they didn't lose any revenues, we talked about, while they built it in 2 years flat whilst playing, and that had a return on investment of 7 years. So as long as they believe they got that mix right, and that they will fill the stadium, and you will always fill Anfield with excess demand, so you could hold a price point, then it's a very clear business case.
Did you say 120 million for the extension alone?
120 million for the new West Stand, yeah.
Okay. So my second question is, I also had the opportunity to visit Atlanta United in the States recently, and that is also phenomenal, on par with everything we've just seen, both the stadium, which is unbelievable. I think they spent like $1 billion or something in it, the Benz Stadium, and as well as the training center, very, very comparable. Are you also active in the United States with football stadiums? I mean, of course, there are many clubs coming online, and the capacities are already pretty big from the onset because they're shared with, in the case of Atlanta, with American football. But are you also active in the MLS?
No, we're not. I would love to be, because the budgets are insane. But America's a very mature sport market. It has half a dozen superbly experienced American sports architects who are ingrained and embedded with all the ownerships, and are well known for designing superb facilities. There's not a lot to attract them to invite over an English architect that works metric, for one. But also, they just don't need to. They have so much talent in country.
Thank you very much, Andy. It was really, really pleasure to hear you and see your presentation. A couple of notices before we will left the hall. If you would like to play football, no chance, because there's some strange in the weather right now outside. That's why if you would like to play chess with Roman, then you have a chance to play chess with Roman, yes. And at 4 o'clock sharp, we are waiting for you in restaurant Kahili. It'll be a gala lunch with Roman and with our Saudi friend, and we talk about football there. So at 4 o'clock, restaurant Kahili. See you there. Thank you very much.